We are Dukes and Bell. We start off every day and every hour by saying, hey, man.
I love our studio audience live here at Twin Peaks of Buckhead.
It is good to have you listening on a Friday. We're out here, as Mike said, Buckhead location. Come on out and hang out with us. Appreciate you guys being out here. See a couple of other listeners that just walked in. My man, appreciate you being out here. Mike, we got to talk about whether we can run the football or not. Guys, this is a division game. This is going to lead to potentially us being 2-0 in this division. Right. Now, we already beat Carolina. We can talk about all these other losses and what's happened in London and what happened last week. This one's bigger. It's got a little bit more emphasis because if you're able to sweep Tampa or split with them and split with the Saints or sweep the Saints, guys, we're going to beat Carolina again. They're a mess. We have a shot to win this division. And if you know what that means playoffs. And it also means you get a host. You get a chance to host a home game in the playoffs. So this has got a little bit more weight. But, Mike, can we run the football against these guys?
How do we get off the roller coaster? The only way Ritter is better is by running the football, to your point. And we found out that apparently now we can't do it between the tackles. You count how many plays are going outside these days?
Yeah, we're trying to do a lot more. Yeah, and get outside the offensive line. Yeah.
So you watch again. You turned your eyes on to Bijan last year. A lot of Bijan stuff was between the tackles, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Well,
Bijan has got tremendous speed, and Algier is a guy. I don't think people expect Algier to have success outside the tackles. So how do we do that inside the tackles? Because guys know what we're trying to do right now, don't they?
So Bijan Robinson. He ranks 44th out of 44 qualifying backs in yards before contact.
All right.
Okay. 1.2 yards per attempt. So in college, Mike, he had the highest miss rate of any college back, okay, coming out of Texas. This was something that the Falcons saw as well, where in the zone, whether it's tackle to tackle and you're in that front seven and he gets into the hole, his miss rate was the highest in college football. He was going to make the first two guys miss, which obviously was giving him 4.5, 5 yards to pick up.
But in the NFL, it's different.
It's different. And so it's also different how they've tried to use him. Listen, you're not going to outrun guys in the NFL, okay? Once I get past you, it's different. But when we talk about laterally, and I'm throwing pitch sweeps, and I'm trying to outrun guys, what they're looking for is for Bijan to get out there and see the cutback, and then whoop, he's gone. But it hasn't been there. So I think you have to run at these guys. Vita Vea, they're big D tackles, because Tampa is stout up front. Let's double team these cats. Let's run the football straight at them and try to establish the run. All this pitch, sweep, and toss, it's not working right now.
But that's driving me crazy. So real quick, how many listeners out there right now, how many rushing touchdowns does Bijan have? Zero. Bijan's touchdowns are in the air. Now, granted, in the red zone, and he made it happen. Close. No touchdowns running the football. Bijan is averaging 5 yards per carry, despite the way defenses, to your point, have closed down.
A lot of that is him being special. Let's be honest.
Right.
That's just him.
But he's had 200-yard rushing games. He had 124 against against Green Bay. A lot of that in the second half. He had 105 against Jacksonville in London, which still drives me crazy because that goes back to Desmond. We'll get to that.
But in London, they came out committed to try to get him involved.
Correct. But it was still only 14 carries. He had 105 yards on 14 carries. The average NFL running back is going to do that on 20. And that's my beef. And then last week, 37 yards against Houston in the win. No one noticed because we didn't lose. 46 yards rushing. His touchdown came, again, in the red zone. How does Bijan get back to being the guy who looked like the man early in the season? That's on Coach Art. And that brings us back to the thing you and I talked about to start the program. I like Coach Art. I think he knows what he's doing. We saw it in Nashville. But, Carl, offensive line issues? I mean, where do you kind of say, well, it's really not on Art because of ... I just thought, let's run the football, play action, then sets up Desmond for success.
While we're talking about the offensive line, it is our Falcon Report, guys. Let's hear from Chris Lindstrom, who talked about going on the road and also not having a road win since last year. Here's Chris Lindstrom.
Obviously, it's a challenge. There's a lot of adversity in playing on the road, but we know it's an important thing, and you have to win if you're going to have a successful season, right? And there's different things. You know, you have the cadence, stuff like that. That's just like details that come up. But you know, it's a great environment there. They have a great fan base. Obviously, they've had success the last few years, so they're really energized. It's going to be a great environment to play. But as a competitor, you want to be in those environments where it's a ton of energy, hostile, and it's going to be fun.
That is Chris Lindstrom talking about going on the road. Now, we've talked about our quarterback at home. Up until last week, he was really good. Last week, though, he lost his first home game. We've got to find a way to go on the road and get some momentum early. How do you do that? That's why I say, Mike, let's script running the football early. Let's not try to run it once we get down 14 and all of a sudden now we got to establish the run game. I think that's got to be key to start this game. I'm not saying we don't attack them in the air because I still have to trust our quarterback. I want you to hear what Grady Jarrett was saying, Mike, in partnering with David Onyemata. We talked about this. This is the best guy he's been next to since he's been a Falcon. Here's Grady Jarrett.
Yeah, man, from the beginning, you know, I knew he was going to be a great addition, you know, a great compliment, you know, to me as a player and me, him as well, because obviously having familiarity in the division for so many years, I was excited when we signed him. And I mean, it's just been, since day one, man, we've just been putting in work together, you know, trying to find ways we can make each other better. And I think it's been going really well. I think there's another level we can take it to. And he'll be the first to tell you, we always working to try to get better.
Always trying to get better. He said from the beginning he knew David Onyemata was going to be a nice piece next to him. So offensively, that's where I'm at. What about defensively, Mike? Here's something that we got to watch out for. Do you guys realize that Mike Evans has more receiving yards against the Falcons than any team in his career?
I've seen it personally, Carl, at Mercedes-Benz, especially the last 5 years.
In 16 games, Mike Evans has over 1,300 yards and 10 receiving touchdowns. What I'm telling you is
he owns us.
We got to find a way to shut that down, okay? Right. I know Baker Mayfield is not Tom Brady. I understand that. But even before Tom Brady, when they had Jameis, Mike, he was killing us. So we have to find a way to slow down Mike Evans, who obviously likes playing the Falcons, okay? That is something on the defensive side that we've got to contain. But when we talk about the Bucs offense, they are one of the best teams in the league in avoiding fumbles and interceptions thus far. And you said this earlier, whether you like Baker Mayfield or not, he's playing pretty damn well right now.
And Chris had the numbers, and you just gave them out. We have to get heat on the quarterback. But even though they went through centers like socks last year, Carl, they kind of regrouped.
They did.
And so therein lies the problem. We love Calais Campbell. Got the 100 sack. Love Caden Ellis. You know what? Maybe should walk him up a little bit more. Maybe, just a thought. But Nielsen's done a great job. We don't have the lights out. I'm going to get to the quarterback guy. Bud Dupree has been great. And maybe, I know you love Ebiketie, but we really, you know what, Carl? This is the game where you need that guy who can beat somebody one-on-one and get there. And we don't really have that guy as far as edge rusher.
Well, here's the other thing about Baker Mayfield. Guys, it's our Falcon Report coming up. Strong Arm Story of the Day. You'll hear our conversation with Brian McFadden talking about the Falcons and what's going on around the NFL here in less than 10 minutes. Baker's sack rate, 3%. Interception rate, 1.9%. What does that mean to you, Falcon fans? He's not turning it over. He's not getting sacked. And I'll tell you guys this. The Lions sacked us 7 times. They're one of the better defenses in the league. They got to Baker 1 time last week. So he's not getting sacked, and he's not throwing picks. So last week, I said this, Mike, they had their shots against the Lions. He missed Mike Evans on a long shot. They missed some plays, and then they were only able to muster up 2 field goals. This week, hey, cool, you got to be ready because we may bog down, not because of anything that we necessarily do, Mike. We got to give credit where credit's due. Their defense is good. We need Young Wei this weekend to be able to hit some long field goals. And I'm hoping it's not a field goal game, but I'm just saying.
Have we seen the weather, Chris? Is it a breezy day on Sunday in Tampa? Chris going to effort that. You know what? This is why you gamblers should check this stuff if it's a close game. Brother, we know the division is there. It's there for the taking. But this is still a winnable game. Yep. But you just gave the numbers, and Chris, pointed it out. Baker is not doing the things that a rookie quarterback would do. But guess what? Desmond is. And there's the push. So if Desmond Ridder can get his first win on the road as a professional quarterback, we all know he never lost at home. He never lost in college at Cincinnati. He never lost in, here with the Falcons until last week. Carl, he's got to figure this out. At some point, Like
he will. Mike, listen, we're going to learn a lot about him this week.
But here's my thing, and I'm not calling your bluff, but you believe in him.
No,
you legitimately believe in him?
No, you asked me this earlier this week. I told you I believe in the process of giving him an opportunity to earn the job and prove himself.
Right.
We can't pull, the rug from underneath his legs because he had a bad game or because he had 2 bad games. It gets back to the Matt Ryan article in The Athletic this week. Matt understands, hey, I threw a first touchdown, 62 yards, and next week I sucked. It's what happens. We've got to give him time. That's what I believe in.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I still want our team to win at all costs. And
right.
if he is costing us in week 12 or 14, Mike, and he's making the same mistakes, then we can have that conversation. But I got to see how he responds this week.
And, you can follow us guys on Twitter. He's put him up, C Dukes, on Mike Bell ATL. Been talking to a lot of our listeners, a lot of Falcon fans, guys at the bar. I get it. If you go to Taylor Heineke,
John Robinson jersey right there.
I love that.
That's my man right there.
Nobody's going to think the Falcons are going to start the 2024 season as Taylor Heineke is the QB. I understand it. I get it. My point is, I hate the fact, and again, you pointed this out, I guess it was Wednesday's show, we can't go back in time. We didn't give Ritter the moment and the minutes a year ago when we should have. So now we got to struggle with Ritter while this team can win the division. Some guys go, you put Heineke in, so what? How far do we go with Heineke? I don't know. I don't know. Phil Simms got hurt one year. The Giants went all the way with Jeff Hostetler with a really good defense. I would love to see us have the opportunity, but I understand what you're saying. We got to ride and die with Ritter. The only outcome here is Ritter figures it out, and the biggest step to him figuring it out, the next thing on the checklist is a road win against a really good defense. So hopefully he gets it done.